Okay, so we've finished off the base of Sad Robot 1. Got his legs and the base plate. And what we'll do is we'll move on to the arms and the wiring for the batteries. So both of the arms is where two AA batteries can fit in, and they will power the Sad Robot. Now, Sad Robot doesn't come with batteries. AA batteries are available everywhere. We do have them on our store as well. If you need some rechargeable low discharge AA batteries. So first of all, let's pop the wiring in. So you can just gently bend. Now the left arm, the top of the left arm is going to have your red wire. Just feed that through the hole there. And the bottom is going to carry your ground signal. So feed that through. Oops. Just tap that in. So there we go. I'll pop that through there. Cool. So next we want to wire up the 5-volt DC boost that we've put together here at Made by A2. The battery is 1.2 volts each, so you're getting 2.4 volts. It's not going to be enough to power everything. The Nano can take a 3.3 volt input. We're actually going to give it a 5 volt input and then take the 3.3 volt output from the Nano and feed it to the LCD. So the LCD needs at least 3.3, but just bringing it up to 5 volts is good. We can get a regulated power supply across the whole unit. The vibration sensor as well seems to like 5 volts a bit better. So the way we've coloured the wiring here might be a little bit unconventional, but it's just trying to make it a little bit easier for you to wire up. So what we have here is we have the positive input coming out with 2 positive outputs, 1 ground input coming in with 2 ground outputs. Now the Nano does have 2 ground outputs, so in this way we have enough to cover all the components. So I'll go ahead and just plug this in. The DuPont cables are great, but you do just need to be a little bit gentle with them. I find they pop out quite easily, and it can be frustrating, but they do make prototyping with this equipment really handy. So I've got a slightly bent pin there. That's okay. As with the Nano and the back of the LCD, and many of your components for Arduinos coming with pins already, so the DuPont cables just are really quite useful. There we go. The way the battery pack is wired up is essentially just thinking of the two AAs running here in series. So we've got our positive coming into the top here, which is sitting on here, and then we want to continue the ground to this top pin. So instead of wiring it too closely, I'll just extend that wire. And then finally we have our ground coming out to our ground pin. Oh, there you go. So this is what happens when it kind of pops the pin out. So I just find just a little bit of a wiggle or twisting it slightly. That still wants to pop out. Okay, there we go. Cool. So there's our power wiring all set up. And so now what we've got is we have two 5-volt positive outputs and two grounds. Great, so we've got our power all set up. We've got our base of our SAD Robot 1. We can now start to put the arms together, and we'll start building it all together. So let's take the battery out. I'll feed the wires through just so the screw holes will now line up, and I find this is where the tweezers come in handy, just to pop the 3 screws. These are the 8mm screws, and you just need 3 of them on each side. And if you just place your fingers inside it, it makes it a little bit easier to stop them from falling through. Then we just pop the nuts on. Whoops. Oh, if you have fingers like mine, I hope you don't get frustrated like me. It's a bit tricky to get these on. Now, another tool that's really handy is a socket. Now, my 5.5mm, my son Ash has played with and put somewhere, so I'm not really sure where it is. This is a 7/32. Excuse my language, I'm not as familiar with these as millimeter, but that both the 5.5 and the 7/32 are perfect for tightening these up. So again, doesn't have to be super tight, just to hold it nicely in place there. So there's the left side. Get the right side in place. You just need three screws, 3 8mm screws again. I've often thought I must be the slowest person to do this. It's just really fiddly to get all the parts in. But once all assembled, then you can get to the coating. Cool. And then just tighten those up. Awesome. So there's our 2 sides. I'll just get the cabling back on. So ground running over to the top of the other side. And then coming into the input. Well, not really input, but okay. There we go. So there's our power and our sides. Now to get these mounted onto the side of SAD Robot, all our screws and nuts are actually on the back plate and the front plate. So how I find the easiest way to do this is we'll work on the front plate first, then put the sides on, then put the top on, bottom on, then the back on.